Hello, Aries, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I see a card has escaped its deck here as I'm shuffling. How did you get in there? Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. Do you love things like that? It's like, oh, sometimes it takes me, I always do the Aries reading first, and it takes me a bit to get set up and it's just the whole thing to get my mindset right. Do I feel like it's right? I pay attention to planetary hours sometimes, so I'm kind of waiting for the right hour to do readings and just when the mood hits me. But it's funny that that card was in there. Anyway, how are you? I'm kind of babbling today. I do hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of April 26th through May 2nd. During that time, we mostly have a waxing gibbous moon. And, waxing gibbous is about us working on those things that we started during the new moon. Like, really, things are really in full swing now, but we're also showing that we can make adjustments. Be a little bit flexible, like, okay, this isn't working. Let me maybe make an adjustment and try something a little bit differently. So think about that. But it's that building, that energetic building up to the full moon, which happens on May 2nd. So remember, of course, that full moon energy can be heightened emotions. You might feel a little overwhelmed and anxious or snappy and irritable. Or for some of you, like me, I just feel like I'm just at my full potential. I love the full moon energy. It happens for a few days for me. I really don't sleep much, but I feel like I get a lot done. I just feel great. So however that strikes you, hopefully the latter, hopefully it's very positive for you, but just take care of yourself in either direction there. So this will be an intuitive general reading, Aries, for the energies that you may or may not encounter this week. So as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't on the table for someone else. And your overall message for this reading is that it is a time for healing. All right, let's see what the Aries Collective has going on for the week. Excuse me, let me grab a drink here. Get my throat all cleared up and ready to go. Anyway, yeah, I do the Aries reading first, but probably what I should do, since I do the readings by signs, I should maybe start on Pisces and move backwards sometimes, but I keep thinking I'm going to do that and I haven't, but maybe next week, maybe that's something I'll try, or the next new moon, right? All right, as I'm shuffling the tarot, my fun weekly reminder for you, Aries, this week is that you take all that good energy that we've got coming up and try to learn something new. So pick a topic that you've had some interest in and just take time to do a really big, deep dive on something, even if it's just a couple of hours. But, the energy is just right this week for learning something new. So try to do, think of something. A lot of times as adults, I know for me anyway, to really I feel like I'm learning things every day, but to really do a deep dive, I have to set aside that time or really focus and say, okay, I'm going to take some time and learn this thing. So just do that for yourself this week and learn something new and just take the time to really absorb something. So, all right, let's get into this reading. We've got Aries, April 26th through May 2nd, a time for healing. And your present energy right now is, oh, look at that, a little bit of rest and meditation, which is perfect healing energy. So, there might be something that you're coming off of here energetically that you do need to just take some time, rest, think about things, do a little bit of meditation, go within a little bit. And, it's a very, this is, it's a card of stability. So, it's good for your own personal stability to take that time out for yourself, especially if there's something that you're getting over right now. I mean, it could be, you could be healing from some sort of illness right now. And sometimes I know, like my daughter the other day, she did something to her toe and foot dropped something on herself. And, she's like, oh, it hurts so bad. She's running up and down. I'm like, sometimes things like that happen because your body is like, hey, it's time to slow down. It's time to stop. And you just need to listen to your body sometimes. But so take that time to heal a little bit, Aries, this week. Your current situation is while you're resting and meditating here with the Nine of Wands, you're going to spend some time kind of looking back on some things. This is our Wounded Warrior card that's looking back like, I'm almost at the end of something here. Something is about to come to fruition, but I need to look back at where I've been. What have I learned? What are the lessons? What are the things that I've been through? And you're kind of nursing those wounds a little bit here. And that's also can bring on some rest and healing as well. when you're in that mode of just kind of looking back, taking note of where you've been. Typically the reason we do that is so that we're not making those same mistakes moving forward. We see things where we would make adjustments. Like I said, the moon energy this week is about being flexible enough to make adjustments in your life. So, when something, and even sometimes when something does work out in your favor, you go back and you look back and you think, if I could go back in time, I would change X, Y, or Z. Of course, we can't do that. But as we move forward, we can kind of just, that becomes a part of your wisdom, right? To move forward and do things a little bit differently and really absorb that wisdom. At the root of your situation is the Queen of Pentacles. So this could be something when it comes to the material realm or the financial realm even. The Queen of Pentacles is really about absorbing that understanding and really learning, taking that time to learn. It is that feminine energy of being, where the King of Pentacles is, like very, like the energy is a little harsher, right? It's that masculine energy of, knowing how to handle this, that, and the other in the material world, knowing how to do this with money, where the feminine is really about understanding, like understanding, why would put money back for a certain thing, or why you would do something in the material world, when it comes to things like your house, like those feminine, like those nesting things, I guess is the word I'm looking for. But there's something here, and you might spend some time doing that. That might be a part of your healing this week, is just kind of, nesting in your material environment this week a little bit. In your recent past is feeling a little bit like an outsider here with the Five of Pentacles. So, this could be some lesson learned. Again, you're looking back on this past and kind of remembering, wow, I was feeling like an outsider. And, has this thing come to fruition? Have you come to the end of this, or have you learned your lesson there? That's in the past, but you are looking back there, with this card, like, wow, I got through this, but there was a time there where I did kind of, was I comparing myself to someone else or something else? I call this, the comparison is the thief of joy card, because, and of course we all go through times where we do feel like an outsider, but you really do have to stop sometimes and question why. Because why are you comparing, and who are you feeling like an outsider to or from or with, or those, those kind of questions come up. But you're looking back on that, and maybe it is time to kind of examine that as you're resting and meditating. Why did I feel like that? How do I stop? How do I not feel like that in the future as well? Okay, what is on your mind this week, Aries? Is the Queen of Cups. So, not only are you having this understanding of the material world, but on your mind is really to have an understanding of the emotional world. And with the Queen, it's not only your emotional world, but it is also the emotional world of the people around you, and really kind of understanding the motivations of people, why certain people do certain things. Sometimes they're just in a certain emotional space, but as the Queen, you have the wisdom to be able to kind of see the bigger picture. Look at the people around you, your constituents, the your kingdom, and see, oh, this one's driven by this emotionally, or this one's driven by this emotionally, and you're able to, kind of have an empathy and an understanding for people because of that reason. But that's kind of on your mind, is to have that Queen of Cups energy, and that really is kind of an empathetic energy. What is just ahead of you this week is the Five of Swords. So there might be some sort of words exchanged. Um, you know, this is kind of the winning, but through at what cost card, right? Winning, and the sword energy. So it's about maybe exchanges of words. So you might have a time where some things get thrown word wise, and is it, are you hurting feelings around you maybe? And is this you? Were there words that were said to you? Is this ahead of you this week? So there might be just some kind of harsh words, and it could be, sometimes it is reality. It's just stuff that needs to be said, right? But sometimes people can be a little kinder, and maybe that's you. Maybe you can be a little kinder in your words. If you do have to say something, it looks like you're holding back a little bit. There's still some swords that you're holding on to, but a couple of these come out pretty harshly, maybe at other people. So, I think the lesson here is to, again, sometimes things do need to be said, but can you be as kind as you can when there's something real that needs to be said? And just take that into account, especially because you're being the Queen of Cups. You're really understanding those emotional motivators. Also, I'm going to say to look up angel number 55. We'll see if we have another 5 that pops up here, but so far we have 2 of those on the table. So maybe take a look at that. And your advice position here is another 4 with the 4 of Cups. So now we've got 44 and 55 for angel numbers for you. Um, the advice here is, it looks like this person isn't very thrilled with what the universe is offering. And I feel like, because this is in your advice position, it's almost saying like that's okay. There might be something coming in here that the universe is handing to you and it's just not what you want. And that's not always a bad thing. Sometimes it's okay to have that examination and to say, no, I want this particular thing and that's what I want. It's kind of just being a little bit disconnected. Of course, are you resting and meditating because of that? Are you kind of, hiding away somewhere? It is a time for healing. If there's something that's coming in for you and it's not exactly what you want, of course you're allowed to say no to it. And maybe it's just trying to teach you patience to wait for the thing that you really, really want. So, the advice to, because that, again, that's in your advice position, is that's okay. I mean, you're not going to be, not all of us are thrilled every day with the things the universe is bringing us. Some of us, we want that winning lottery ticket. When it doesn't come in, we're like, oh, great, thanks. But is this the lesson, is to wait for the thing that you really want, wait for the conditions to be right, so that's something for you to think about this week is, are you just not that thrilled with what, and how can you change what the universe is offering you, right? Is it going to be different next week? Is this an offering that has come up and over and over and over? So all those things that you need to think about is something that maybe you do need to kind of take the universe up on, because it's supposed to lead to something else. And so that your disappointment about it is kind of blocking that you keep saying no to it, but it keeps being presented to you. So a lot of questions can go into, why you're not happy and really what to do about it. The choice is always yours, of course, but definitely take some time to examine that this week. What is beyond your control this week is the 8 of Swords, which is feeling stuck, but knowing that you can get yourself right out of there. So I do get the feeling that you're kind of coming to the end of some sort of cycle here. Again, if it's a time for healing, it might just be something that is just wrapped up for you. With these 8s and 9s, I feel like you're, like, this isn't new, whatever you're going through. And again, I do these tarot readings are for a week, but life of course doesn't happen in a week. This could be something that has been ongoing for you, for weeks, months, even years. That's kind of, you're kind of getting to the end of something. I'm really sensing that. So just remember that if you're feeling stuck, know that you can think your way out of something in an instant. You just have to put your mind at work and think about it. What is your secret desire, or what are you trying to avoid? Well, of course, your secret desire, I hope, is the 10 of Cups. That's one of the happiest cards in the deck. This is happy life, happy family, just everybody's in a good place. So hopefully that is your secret desire. I doubt if you're trying to avoid that. So whatever it is, I feel like you're tenuously trying to make the right decision so that you can arrive at this place where not only it's for your own happiness, but also probably those around you as well. um but it's okay. I mean, that's happiness like that we all strive for. We all, and it comes and goes, right? It's not, and also happiness is a choice. Sometimes you just choose to be happy with the things that are around you. Be very grateful. So, again, I hope that's your secret desire. I doubt if that's what you're trying to avoid. And your outcome here, Aries, is the Ace of Cups, which is an overflowing heart and love for things and people around you. That, you're just kind of, you are loving things at the end of this. So whatever choices you're making and things you're thinking about, sometimes we get in this quagmire of kind of thinking of, kind of stuck in your head, right? Kind of stuck in your head, and this happiness seems a little bit far off, or this overflowing heart. But sometimes, again, if it's time to heal, go ahead and heal the thing that you've just been through, because here's the end result, is that you do have an open heart and you are, happy life, happy family, happy people around you once you kind of push through and get through this. And it might just be a mindset, right? What's hidden from you at the bottom of the deck, Aries? Oh, look, another one of the happiest cards. So now you've got 2 10s in this reading. Lots of lots of repeating numbers coming up. And what is hidden from you? This is like the ultimate in, we look at this card, which is like, oh, happy family and everything. This one here is about generational happiness and well-being, and what we're passing on to maybe the generations beyond us, not only in the financial or material realm, but, things like morals that we're, teaching the next generation, things like, how to be a good person, those kind of things. But everybody in this picture, I like that the little guy is peeking around there, hanging on by his mom, the dogs. I mean, everybody's just, we're good in, in this picture, and that's hidden from you is that's kind of the end of the road. And that might be what you're thinking of, Aries, is kind of pushing your way through a thing to get yourself closer to these happier moments and for the long term, which is great. I mean, that's just the kind of work that we're all doing, and I commend you for doing it. I think whatever it is that you've just gone through, again, take that time to rest and meditate and heal and think about it. If you need to journal, to write things down, talk to a friend, all the different ways that you can do to kind of manage something and be like, shoo, what have I just been through, and how do I find the happiness and find the gold nugget in the end of all of it. So let's get you a final message here from the Soul Oracle deck as Aries is healing through whatever this is they've just gone through. Final message for Aries. And the card for you today is to revive the dormant. Okay, interesting. Is there something that has been dormant for you? Is there something that needs to come alive a little more? I'm looking at this card in the middle with, of course, looking back on things. That's a thing that we do, and there might just be something that you're looking back on that is dormant for you. It could be something like I said, like gratitude, that maybe you've spent some time learning how to be very grateful about things, and you kind of fall off and you forget to be that way for a while. And we all do this. I was talking to my husband today about just the things that we want to do every day that are really good for us. I literally have a list, and it's like, it's just so hard to just stay on top of the simplest little things, like, did I do this exercise today? Did I take this vitamin? Did I drink my water? Did I do, sometimes, and we forget, like, oh, I want to be this person. I want to be someone who's very thankful, very grateful. And you go through and you do it, and all of a sudden you kind of just slide off and you're off onto a different path for a little while. And maybe it is there's some kind of something dormant, which is maybe something that you want to be permanently, that gets you to these happier places. So what is that for yourself? Take a look back, look and see what that might be for you, and make sure that you do try to revive that and try to embody that and be that. All right, what do you need to do in the way of self-care, Aries? I know this reading is turning long because I'm very babbly today. My apologies. But self-care for Aries this week is going to be surprise, the element of surprise. Release your expectation and be open to surprise. And I'm going to talk about this card right here. Sometimes the universe offers us something, and like I was saying, we're not happy in the moment because it's like, well, that's not what I wanted. But hidden in what the universe is offering you is maybe it gets you closer to that thing that you want. And by saying no and being unhappy about it, you're kind of missing the boat. And this could be just one step away from the thing that you want. So make sure that you're making sure you understand what you're saying no to sometimes. So careful what you say no to, I guess, would be the lesson there, Aries. So, Aries, thank you so much for being here. I know this reading went a little bit long today, and I hope that's okay with you. I do appreciate your time here with me. If you're comfortable sharing, of course, drop me a comment down below. Let me know if anything here resonated with you, or if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer those or discuss anything with you. Also, if you like my reading style, hitting like and subscribe will help you find me next week. And I think that's a pretty cool idea for you to come back and see if this energy continues or if there's something completely new here for you. So, once again, Aries, thank you so much for being here. Good luck with this, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.